Hi, Brian Recorder here. A lot of my adult life I've spent actually teaching and working with continuous improvement tools. I've got thousands of hours of teaching continuous improvement and implementing 5S plus 1 and continuous improvement tools. 5S plus 1 is definitely a gem in the toolkit for continuous improvement. And unfortunately, I've seen it often fail in its implementation, usually because people don't understand the benefits. So they do all the hard work to get it going, and in no time at all, it just erodes back to the original condition. If we don't understand the benefits, if we don't see how it's helping us, then it is truly annoying us, and we probably won't keep it. Remember, our favorite radio station is WIFM. What's in it for me? So why is 5S plus 1 so powerful, and why do you want to give it attention? Well, for one thing, it's been around for a long time. It's actually been around since 16th century shipbuilding. It was part of the J program in World War I and used by training within industries to help build everything, for World War II. So when our young men went off to war, the people at home had to build the tanks, ships, planes. These things don't build themselves. And again, 5S plus 1 was one of those tools that was used. But it definitely goes to Toyota for having the credit of really making it the worldwide phenomenon. They're the ones that introduced the 5 words that start with S, Japanese words, and we translated those into English words. But again, it is something that has kind of swept around the world. So let's look at the why first. Why do we want to do 5S plus 1? Well, if you check out this whiteboard here, if this were a whiteboard that was in your work environment, and let's say I put an important message on it like call home, would you ever see that message? Probably not. This represents a lot of our offices, desktops, work environments, workplaces. When you have clutter to that degree, you cannot organize it. If there was a 5S plus 1 coin, the two sides would be like this. The first side would be remove the clutter. You cannot organize that. First, we have to remove all the clutter. Clutter hides problems. You might be in a work environment where someone creates a trip hazard, but because of the disarray, you don't notice until someone trips. They leave an exposed blade out on a bench that is always cluttered. No one notices until they get cut. Again, when we have clutter, it hides problems. We need to remove the clutter. So that's the first side of the 5S plus 1 coin. The second side is now let's use the environment to basically drive behavior. So we want to design the workplace in a way to where it communicates to us. To where if there's a problem, we see it immediately. We see that trip hazard as soon as someone puts that extension cord across the floor or whatever. So again, the two main purposes for 5S plus 1 are remove clutter, remove things we don't need, and then put visual devices in place so we can see when problems arise immediately. The purpose of 5S plus 1 is to surface abnormalities so we can see problems. So if a tool is missing or supplies are missing, we notice it immediately. Typically, if someone is losing or missing a tool, when do we notice it? When we need that tool. That's a little bit too late. We want to know beforehand. So what are those 5 words that make up 5S plus 1? Well, they're sort, set, shine, standardize, sustain, and through all of them you want to implement safety. Use safety in the back of your mind. The lean continuous improvement tools are phenomenal for driving safety. As a matter of fact, you need them working with you as part of your safety programs. So let's look at each of those briefly. Okay, sort. We want to remove the clutter. Get rid of anything that is in the work area that we do not need. You typically want the things that you're going to use on a daily basis. If it's something that you use maybe monthly or whatever, and again, all environments are different, but you typically want to remove the things that you only use every so often and have them in a place when you can get to them immediately. It's okay if you've got to leave your environment to go get something that you don't use very often, but you don't want to waste time looking for it. You want to know where it's at so you can immediately go and get it, then put it back when you're done. Okay, so once we've sorted out everything, now we want to set to order the things that we're going to use. So we want to look at our work area and put as many things as close to the point of use as is possible. You have a tool you use all the time, you want it right there where you do the work. So on a desk, you would want typically your computer, maybe notepads, things that you use on a regular basis. Set in a way that, again, it makes sense to help improve your workflow. You might think of something called the 3 S's. So set location, set item, and set amount. How much of it do you actually need to do your job? So now you're designing your work to be in a way that it serves you, it serves the person that are actually doing the work. Then shine. Well, now we've got it all kind of designed. Let's clean everything and get it where everything looks like new. I've been in environments like machine shops and factories where they've literally resurfaced the ground, painted the floor, painted the walls, painted the equipment. You want everything to look like new. You've maybe been in this environment before where you work somewhere and they tell you, hey, we have some important visitors next week, so we need to really clean up for their tour for when they come to see us. That always really bugged me. We should have it clean and tour ready for the people that do the work that are in it. Don't clean for visitors. Have that standard high for the people that are doing the work. For the ones that are normally in that environment, have it always tour ready to benefit the people that are there all the time. And it is a standard we truly have. Let's say I visit your house and I walk into your living room and you have a beautiful living room and I leave a mark on your floor from stepping outside in dirt. You notice it immediately. You give me some tea and rather than set it on a coaster, I put it on the table and it leaves a ring. Again, you have an immaculate home, you notice it immediately. Problems are surfacing. So you tell me, hey Brian, come on, get your act together. You're messing up my house. Now I invite you over to my house and it's a total mess. I got stuff scattered everywhere. You got to clear stuff off of a chair to be able to sit down. If you put a ring on my table or mark the floor, I would never notice it because my standard is already way too low. You're not worried about messing something up. You're worried about sticking to something or getting a disease. Again, we need to have the right standards where we can see problems. So again, remove the clutter, set everything to order to where it makes sense to you, and then clean everything to where, again, it is a nice high standard. Dirt and grime, again, hide problems. Standardize. Now, once you've got it this way, set a standard where in all work areas is pretty much the same. Use color coding or toolbox that are set up the same way, shadow boards for tools. But the idea of standardization is to put everything in a way to where, again, you're not going to slowly erode it away back to the original standard, the original condition. We want standards in place to where it's going to stay the way we want it to stay. And everyone is following the standards. If you have lots of different departments, I would suggest having color coding and, as much as you can, the standard's the same. A great example of this would be your car dashboard. Notice how all car and truck dashboards are set up the same way. Wouldn't it be terrible if they were all different? You had to be retrained every time you drove a different vehicle. Standardization is very powerful. Our brain is a pattern-seeking mechanism. It looks to connect the dots. When you walk into any fast food restaurant, they're pretty much set up the same way so that you don't have to ask questions. You walk in, you immediately know the workflow. You know where to place your order, where the drink fountain is, where to place your tray, your trash, where to sit to eat. That's the type of environment that you want for work, where people step in, they immediately can tell what's going on. That last one, sustain. This is a very important one, obviously. Again, you don't want to slide back, but it's also a very easy one. Simply use check sheets or whiteboards with the things that you want people to check on a daily basis so that when they leave, it is in the same condition as when they got to work. Again, you get it where you want it to be, and then you maintain it. So a simple check sheet. Have tools been put away? Trash emptied? Lighting good? No trip hazards? Again, you put the information, the things that you want checked, based on your environment. And the great thing about the check sheet is you can constantly update it. You have something that's become an issue, people are leaving containers out, well, add that to the check sheet. but it shouldn't take more than 2 or 3 minutes to do your 5S+1 check sheet for an area, and you should do it daily. Okay, again, the reason for this is workers deserve it. When we show up at work, we should come on to a work environment that has 3 things already set for us. A work environment that's clean, safe, and orderly. We should have all the tools, supplies, and information we need to do our job. We shouldn't have to start our day with an Easter egg hunt. And then the last thing is we should have processes in control where we don't start the day firefighting or dragon slaying. If those 3 things are in place, you're now in control. You have conquered your domain. You are in control. If those 3 things are not in place, you might spend all day trying to gain control and end up basically frustrated all day just trying to gain control, knowing tomorrow you're going to come in and do the same thing again. If those 3 things are in place, again, you have control, you've conquered your domain. Now employees can focus on 2 activities: customer satisfaction and continuous improvement. And that's a lot more fun. So again, hopefully this gave you a quick overview of the power of 5S+1 and why you want to implement it.